We're here in Shanghai. It's a week to the day since the tour finished. What were your favourite and almost memorable moments for both the tours, for the German tour and the China tour?
Oh, wow. The standout show in Germany was on a Tuesday night in a former East German town called Suhl. Just a little place. They happen to have a pub that runs a music night once a month. And that night they had us and the Vagrants. The audience all would have been, I'm guessing, 40 or 50 plus, you know. But real music lovers, sort of, that probably in their teens, in their 60s, they were fabulous. The place was packed, the atmosphere was terrific, these people danced and they sang, and we played Land Down Under by Men at Work, and it erupted. The place just erupted. Their response to that song was so insane. They were so delighted. I nearly couldn't sing anymore because I had a lump in my throat. That was a really special moment. And you know, I'm tipping that they somehow heard that song while the wall was still up. You know, but it's amazing to think of the history of a place like East Germany and how music must have impacted them and been so important under the government oppression. So thank you, Men at Work. You certainly moved a lot of people with your music, and Land Down Under is just known all over the world. Made a lot of people happy. I mean, there were many good times in Germany, but that was sort of a standout moment for me. The emotional hit I got from that moment was terrific. In China, there's kind of two that stand out. The very first show, which was a surprise, we didn't know what to expect. We were playing in university with 9 other local bands, and there was some talk about whether we would go on first or go on last. Traditionally, the most credible spot in the lineup is to go on last. That's the headliner position. So they were offering us the choice of that spot or the first spot. And normally you don't go first as a visiting international act unless you're supporting a bigger act. But as it transpired, we were given a sound check, so you know, testing and setting up all of our sounds, and that was such a challenge. I think the guys running the sound desk didn't do that sort of work normally, at least not at this large stage extent, and the way we run things really puzzled them. It was very challenging to get the sounds we wanted. So in the end, rather than tear that down and hope that they remembered and come back a couple of hours later after 9 other bands, we decided on the spot to go first. And it was such a terrific result and experience, because as it happened, the kids from the university just came piling out into this quadrangle to see what was going on. And once again, Chinese audiences are some of the most expressive in the world. We've played in over 20 countries now, and Chinese audiences are they're amazing. They are so enthusiastic. They want to sing along. They want to clap and cheer and dance, and they do. So it's pretty cool playing for them. And of course, then there was MIDI Festival. MIDI Festival is a big deal. So it's a big festival, probably something like Australia's Big Day Out. Huge stages, huge audiences, tens of thousands of people going there every year. It's probably the most credible rock festival in China. It was started 10 years ago, I think, by a real and one of the first rock musicians in China. So it was really where people who appreciated music, who wanted music for the sake of music, they would go to MIDI Festival. There are many other festivals now, and they're very popular, but people go there for the event. They're not necessarily there as music lovers. It was kind of a funny show for us because there was a lot of pressure before we got on stage to get set up quickly, to cut down our set and be shorter. So the whole stage had begun to slip later and later. They were about an hour behind. So we were asked to shorten our set, which we subsequently did, but there was also a lot of pressure to set up and get going. And it's really hard to perform at your best when you're trying to plug in plugs and run around and get things set up, and you've got these people coming saying, how much longer will you be? We were really quick. In fact, we were ready before the sound guy was ready. Marty started off the first song, and the sound guy came running out and stopped him and asked some inane, ridiculously timed question. So we restarted the show and got going, and at that moment you have to drop all those stresses. You have to drop the feeling of being harassed, to make up for someone else's slippage in time. You have to drop that and just purely focus on the audience and giving them as much as you can, energetically and joyfully. So we ended up having a great time with that audience. It's very easy the bigger the audience, the more fun it is typically. So that was really great, and it wasn't really until the next day, after all the rush and stress and lugging of stuff to and from and across the festival fields, once that was all over and we had a moment to reflect. It was a really exciting show, as big stage festivals always are. It's amazing to have cameras coming and zooming right up onto you and onto your hands, watching you play. It's amazing how people respond to us. It's a real honour, and it's a real privilege to play big festivals like that. And highlights for another reason, there was one other show worthy of mention in China where it was a night where everything went wrong, and I think that culminated with Marty getting an electric shock through from the microphone through his lips, threw him backwards. He saw white light for a moment, and he just kept on going, as we do. So the show went on, but that was a really, really tough gig. Lots and lots of things went wrong. We had a sound guy that really wasn't very interested and certainly didn't have a clue what was going on stage. So when things were going wrong, we did not have anybody attentive there to help resolve problems of amps blowing up and all sorts of stuff. So that was an interesting night, and it's pretty hard to perform at your best when you're getting electrocuted through the lips. But they make for good tour stories and good tour memories.
One of my favourite tour moments happened just after the tour had finished. We went down to hang out at our tour manager's show. He was playing in a band at a university a couple of days after the tour had finished. And he said to me, I've got to go to a mate's wedding this Saturday, so I can't play. Would you like to run out and have a kick with the Beijing Bombers, the AFL football side that he plays in here? For some reason, straight away I said, yeah, I can do that. So that Saturday, I found myself running out on the field for... They let me out there a few times. It was really serious sort of competition. So I was quite honoured that they let me out there at all. To play for the Bombers against the Shanghai Tigers. And I just had the best time. It was just such a great day and something so unusual to do. But that's one of my favourite tour stories for sure.